Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to the longest running superhero role playing game on Earth. I'm your host, the Game Master, and today we're talking about the X-Men. But before we get into it, smash like, make sure you're subscribed, and leave us a comment. That helps us out with the YouTube algorithm, but also we love hearing from you guys. We've got an awesome community here, and it's all thanks to you. So thank you so much for being here. So, having said all that, let's dive in. The prologue to today's story begins on a distant planet. The Shi'ar starship, known as the Starjammer, descends gently into a sprawling grassy field. The ramp lowers, and several students from the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters begin to step onto the alien terrain. Among them is Cipher, also known as Alyssa Tager, whose mutant ability renders her completely invisible to all forms of detection. Next up is Beast, aka Dr. Hank McCoy, who carefully walks down the ramp, pauses, takes in the alien landscape, and then decides to quote Shakespeare. Be not afeared, the isle is full of noises, sounds and sweet airs that give delight and hurt not. With that, Beast continues onward, carrying a toolkit. Next comes Colossus, aka Pyotr Rasputin. He comes bearing heavy components destined for the construction of a Stargate. Next, we see Dead Girl, also known as Moonbeam Redbridge. She's lugging a variety of mechanical parts. Right behind her is Fish, the aquatic mutant from Brazil, with green flesh, glossy black eyes, pointed ears, and a fin atop his head. He's hauling his own share of mechanical equipment. Then there's Forge, aka Daniel Lone Eagle. He steps onto the grass, toolbox in hand, ready to assist with the assembly. Next is Jubilee, aka Jubilation Lee, who is now a vampire after her encounter with Xerus, the son of Dracula. She effortlessly carries a large crate of supplies using her newfound strength. Finally, there is Penance, who is now an adult. She reveals her striking, bright, pinkish red body and glowing blue eyes. She's wrapped only in black bandage like wrappings that barely cover her razor sharp skin. Once all of the equipment has been unloaded, Beast and Forge begin the intricate process of constructing a Stargate. When the device finally activates, it is more than just a scientific triumph. It signifies the dawn of a new era. Mankind and mutant kind now stand at the threshold of becoming a starfaring civilization, venturing into strange new worlds and boldly going where no one has gone before. And that brings us to the main plot. The Stargate hums and glows as people walk back and forth from Earth to this alien planet, carrying supplies needed for colonization. Just then, a strange long black ship lands. It's sleek and has red windows, and a ramp on the back of it lowers, and out walks a woman who is strange yet familiar. She has a body of metal like Colossus has, but she's built more like She-Hulk. Sprouting forth from her back are chrome versions of wings like that of Warren Worthington. And whipping behind her is a deadly metallic version of Nightcrawler's tail. Just then, she fires an optic blast at Colossus, deciding that he looks like the strongest hero here, and the first one she'll need to knock out if she wants to feed. Oh, my stars and garters, says Beast, his voice half in shock as he watches the chaos unfold. Without missing a beat, Cipher uses her powers on the entire team. Suddenly, the mystery woman couldn't see, hear, or sense any of them. She swung her attention around, confused, searching for a target. "Come on out, Sugar," the woman called, her voice smooth yet dangerous. Jubilee froze. "Rogue?" Before Jubilee can react, Rogue's eyes flare red and an optic blast shoots straight at her target. Jubilation Lee twists and flips with inhuman vampire speed, dodging the red beam just in time. Forge doesn't hesitate. He sprints through the Stargate and hits the controls. The glow vanishes in an instant. The hum fades into silence until all that remains was a massive, lifeless metal ring standing in the grass. The portal was gone, and with it, the mystery woman's ability to go to Earth and take more powers. At the sound of hearing the name Rogue, the mystery woman's lips curled into a grin. "I ain't that old jalopy. You're looking at the new model." Beast studied her carefully, his voice low but certain. "She's not our Rogue. She's a clone." He frowned, more to himself than anyone else. But the question remains, who could have engineered something like this? Rogue's clone prowled the field, nostrils flaring as she tried to use Wolverine's keen sense of smell to sniff out her prey. Her chrome tail lashed behind her as she stalked them in circles, hunting what she couldn't see. Cipher clenched her fists, her face tight with focus. A bead of sweat slid down her temple, keeping the whole team hidden from such a powerful mix of abilities that was pushing her to her limit. Still circling, the woman spoke casually, almost like she was talking to herself. "Y'all ever hear of the X-Babies?" Beast's eyes widened. The X-Babies? They were a creation of Mojo in the 80s, young clones of the X-Men designed for... But before he could finish, a searing red optic blast shot straight at him. Rogue's clone had heard every word. Beast twisted just in time, the beam missing by inches and scorching the ground behind him. Cipher's powers flared, enveloping Beast in an invisible cloak. She gritted her teeth, sweat running down her face, muscles tensing as she forced him completely out of the clone's senses. "Y'all think Mojo would stop at just one batch?" the clone said, her voice casual as she prowled on. With a metallic schnick, Wolverine's claws extended from her hands. She moved with deadly precision, circling the team, sniffing and listening for any mutant whose powers she could steal. Cipher strained, sweat dripping from her face as she kept all of them hidden from the relentless predator. Rogue's clone prowled, claws glinting as she sniffed and searched for a target. She lunged, expecting resistance, but her hands passed right through Dead Girl. The girl had gone intangible, leaving the clone momentarily confused. Suddenly, Colossus charged from behind, wrapping his massive arms around Rogue's clone, his metal skin shielding him from any attempt to drain his powers. She struggled, wings thrashing, claws flashing, but before he could fully pin her, she vanished with a sharp bamf and then reappeared behind him, slashing into his back with his claws. The blades scraped and rattled against his metal hide, struggling to pierce him as Colossus gritted his teeth and held fast. Jubilee didn't wait. She let off a burst of her signature fireworks. The bright sparks exploded directly on the surface of the clone's eyes. Rogue staggered back, momentarily blinded, wings flailing as she hissed in frustration. Beast lunged for the Stargate controls, fingers flying over the panel. With a quick adjustment, he activated it. But instead of a stable destination, the portal swirled wildly, opening to some random point in space, or maybe to nowhere at all. The ring of metal hummed and twisted unnaturally, a yawning void stretching on the other side. While Jubilee blasted Rogue in the eyes with fireworks, Colossus seized the Stargate, swinging it down around Rogue's clone and forcing her through the portal. She vanished into the swirling light, but the moment the gate slammed into the ground, it smashed, metal crumpling and the glow dying instantly. Cipher sank to the ground, finally letting her muscles relax. Sweat ran down her face as she wiped her brow, taking slow breaths. For a moment, the tension eased. Everyone was safe, at least for now, and she could feel the strain of keeping them hidden from that terrifying predatory feeling. And that brings us to the epilogue. The team returned to the Starjammer, still parked nearby. They brushed themselves off and caught their breath. Fish shuffled awkwardly. Sorry I didn't really do much back there. I thought I was a goner. Dead Girl shrugged. I couldn't do much either. No ghosts, no cemeteries on this planet. I did what I could. Jubilee tilted her head and licked a fang. So, Mojo clones. He's been doing this for decades? Beast rubbed his furry blue chin, thinking aloud. If Mojo started in the 80s, there could be a dozen batches or more, and some of them could be far worse than what we just faced. Cipher let out a long breath, finally relaxing. I just hope we don't have to meet them all at once. Penance watched the others as silent as always, her blue eyes glowing in the dim light of the ship's interior. Colossus folded his arms. We handled it. That's what counts. We'll deal with whatever comes next when it shows up. And with that, Beast gripped the controls. With a smooth motion, the ship lifted off of the planet, cutting through the atmosphere and into the stars. The hum of the engines filled the cabin as they left the alien world behind and headed out into the unknown. And that was it for this one. We liked it on our end. We hope you liked hearing about it. If so, as always, smash like, make sure you're subscribed, and leave a comment. And from all of us here at the longest running superhero role-playing game on Earth, we hope you have a good one, and we'll see you in the next adventure.